From competition to cooperation, major food delivery platforms Grab, Foodpanda and Deliveroo are banding together to form a new industry association. The aim is to do more for their staff and strengthen guidelines for matters like road safety. But not all workers say they're getting enough support. In fact, some are flocking to smaller companies with the promise of better working conditions. Clara Lee has more.
Food delivery is how Raj gets some side income on top of his full-time job installing electrical appliances. For him, this homegrown firm of over 100 riders is a better option than joining a major delivery company.
I'm expecting more benefit and more exposure to deliver the food and less stress. Because now Singapore roads, you need to safe drive and everything, safe to others also.
Usually for bigger platforms, it takes a while for drivers to reach support, and there's a lot of time wasted in between, and drivers get frustrated. But for us, what we try to do is we try to get support to them as soon as possible.
Another delivery platform called YQ works differently by giving more flexible roles. More than 50 YQ part-timers order food from hawker centres and instead hand these to third-party riders for delivery.
Being in a hawker centre setting, their responsibilities are to order and pack and coordinate the food items and hand over them to the riders. So this is a big benefit for, let's say, housewives and students who do not own a vehicle.
They're called hawker captains. The freedom to choose his hours is why Jaren Ng signed up.
In YQ, actually, you just need to work for 2 to 3 days, whereas for Foodpanda and GrabFood, you need to work for at least 5 days a week.
With platform workers wanting more than just to earn some cash, the bigger firms are responding.
This comes after the three main food delivery companies here, namely Grab, Foodpanda and Deliveroo, set up a joint partnership called the Digital Platforms Industry Association. It aims to set up a code of practice relating to the health and safety of food delivery workers. It also plans to work with the government and stakeholders to address areas for improvement.
But an association representing these platform workers says more can be done, especially to tackle issues such as workplace injuries.
It is important that the unions, the associations and the platforms as well as the government, we all come together to see how we can better set up protective safety nets in the event of a terrible accident, death, even permanent disability.
She adds that discussions with industry players are already ongoing.
For more, we're joined by Associate Professor Guan Chong from the Singapore University of Social Sciences. Now, she is the Deputy Director of the Centre for Continuing and Professional Education at the University. Prof Guan, thank you for joining us. Now, this new association says it aims to strengthen industry practices and raise standards. So, in your opinion, what are some of the pressing areas that you'd expect this association to start working on and solving first?
Okay, so of course, like any industry or sectors, there are some pressing issues. First of all, is the profitability itself of these platforms. Many delivery platforms, with a few exceptions that, of course, have remained largely unprofitable. Grab, Deliveroo have never been profitable, which is not unusual for a startup. And Delivery Hero, the company behind Foodpanda, in May and June this year, have hit adjusted break-even, which includes the Foodpanda's operation in Asia. So I think that's one issue that this association would aim to address. Of course, there are other issues that we have highlighted earlier, like the riders' compensation model, road safety risk caused by the long hours and fatigue, as well as the rush to fulfill the orders to meet targets or gain incentives, and also another issue that this business model is facing is the high commission that is eating into the already very thin profit margin by restaurants. Sometimes they will charge as much as high as 30% in commission for each each order, which can wipe out the entire profit margin for the restaurant. So these are all teething problems that the industry is facing.
And I assume what they hope to overcome as an association. So what then are the benefits of tackling these issues as that association rather than on individual terms and as individual firms?
Right. So with a focus on the supporting the delivery staff as well as the merchants and sharing the industry best practices could help to mitigate some of the issues that we have raised above, or for instance, the road safety risks. We could provide incentives and provide measures, insurance to ensure the cases are well addressed. And also for merchants, they need to work with the merchants to ensure that there is a financially viable, sustainable model for them to work on. And of course, in a standard setting of trade associations, it is generally pro-competitive, and they are naturally motivated to impose measures to restrict price war or disruptive competition practices. What I mean by price war is the battle to capture the consumers using the price as a weapon of choice, and price slashing one after another can lead to a dramatic decline in industry profit, sectoral profits. And also we can reduce the chances of disruptive competition, which could be scenarios where the competition resulting prices that do not meet the cost of production, particularly the fixed costs or the platform costs.
Finally, how will all of what you have mentioned impact the end user, people like you and me who call food to order the food quite often, as well as the platform workers? Would we have to pay more, for example?
Of course, promoting healthy competition is broadly recognized as the best available tool for promoting consumer welfare. And competition, healthy competition, usually drives the price down and motivates the platforms to provide better offerings, better services, and a better consumer journey, right? And so to a certain extent, if the association can ensure it is pro-competitive, it ensures healthy, competitive practices, then consumers would benefit from this association. Of course, if platforms need to remain profitable, drivers need to be appropriately compensated, and restaurants are to maintain a certain level of reasonable margins, then someone would have to foot the bill, which means if we are going to adhere to ethical practices, business practices, and we need to make sure that consumers are aware that the companies are doing the good thing, doing the right thing, and we need to support the platforms and support the merchants by allowing this business model to be sustainable in the long run.
So we will wait and see, Prof, as the association releases more details. Thank you so much, Associate Professor Guan Chong, Deputy Director of the Centre for Continuing and Professional Education at SUSS.